What if dry fruits are not dangerous for diabetics, but the wrong portion, wrong timing, and wrong pairing are what raise blood sugar? Most people with diabetes are told to avoid dry fruits completely because they are sweet and concentrated. And yes, if you eat a full handful of dried figs, prunes, or cashews mixed with sugary snacks, your blood sugar can rise fast. But when you choose the right dry fruits and eat them in the right amount, they can do something very different. They can slow glucose absorption, reduce cravings, support gut bacteria, improve digestion, support insulin sensitivity, and help you avoid processed sweets that spike blood sugar even more. The secret is not eating unlimited dry fruits. The secret is using small portions with balance. Today, you'll discover 3 dry fruits every diabetic can eat daily in the right way: prunes, cashews, and dried figs. Stay with me because one of these sweet dry fruits has a low glycemic index, and most diabetics are avoiding it for the wrong reason. First on the list, prunes. What if one of the sweetest looking dry fruits is actually one of the most misunderstood foods for diabetics? Many people with diabetes hear the word dry fruit and immediately think, too much sugar. And that concern makes sense, because when fruit is dried, the water is removed and the natural sugar becomes more concentrated. A small handful can easily turn into a large sugar load if you are not careful. But prunes are different from many sweet snacks because they come with fiber, sorbitol, polyphenols, potassium, and slow-digesting carbohydrates that change how they behave inside the body. When eaten in the right portion, prunes can support better digestion, reduce cravings, slow glucose absorption, and help create a more stable blood sugar pattern. Prunes are dried plums, usually from the European plum, scientifically known as Prunus domestica. Their glycemic index is usually around 29, which is considered low. This means prunes raise blood sugar more slowly than high glycemic foods like white bread, candy, sweet biscuits, or sugary drinks. But glycemic index is only part of the story. Glycemic load matters even more because it includes the portion size. A safe diabetic portion is about 3 to 4 prunes, or roughly 1 ounce. This serving provides about 65 to 70 calories, around 18 grams of carbohydrates, about 2 grams of fiber, and roughly 16 grams of natural sugar. It also gives potassium, vitamin K, copper, boron, and antioxidant compounds. The glycemic load of a small 1-ounce portion is usually moderate, around 8 to 10, but it can rise quickly if you eat a large handful. The first reason prunes can help diabetics is their fiber. Fiber slows digestion and reduces the speed at which glucose enters the bloodstream. This is important because blood sugar control is not only about how much sugar you eat, it is also about how fast that sugar reaches your blood. Fast digestion creates sharp spikes. Slow digestion creates a smoother curve. Prunes contain both soluble and insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber forms a gentle gel-like effect in the digestive tract, helping slow carbohydrate absorption. Insoluble fiber supports bowel movement and digestive rhythm. Prunes also contain sorbitol, a natural sugar alcohol that is absorbed more slowly than regular sugar. This is one reason prunes taste sweet, but still have a lower glycemic index than many people expect. Sorbitol does not rush into the bloodstream the same way refined sugar does. It also pulls water into the intestines, which supports bowel regularity. This is why prunes are well known for constipation relief. That digestion benefit matters more than many diabetics realize. Constipation is common in people with diabetes, especially when fiber intake is low, hydration is poor, physical activity is limited, or diabetic nerve changes slow digestion. When digestion becomes sluggish, appetite signals can become irregular, bloating increases, and food choices often become worse. A small portion of prunes can support regularity, which may indirectly support better appetite control and overall metabolic balance. Prunes also support the gut microbiome. Their fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria. When these bacteria ferment fiber, they produce short-chain fatty acids. These compounds may help reduce inflammation and support insulin sensitivity. This is important because insulin resistance is not only connected to sugar, it is also connected to inflammation, gut health, liver function, and hormone signals. A healthier gut environment can help the body respond to glucose more smoothly over time. Another powerful benefit is cravings control. Many people with diabetes struggle at night or between meals because they want something sweet. If that craving leads to cookies, cake, candy, sweet tea, or sugary cereal, blood sugar can spike quickly. But 3 prunes paired with protein or healthy fat can satisfy sweetness in a more controlled way. This does not mean unlimited prunes are safe. It means the right portion can be used strategically. For example, if you eat 3 prunes with 6 to 8 almonds, 1 tablespoon peanut butter, or 1/2 cup plain Greek yogurt, the protein and fat slow digestion even more. This can reduce the glucose rise compared with eating prunes alone. In some people, replacing high glycemic snacks with a small prune and protein pairing may reduce post-snack glucose spikes by about 20 to 30%. The exact response depends on your body, medication, sleep, activity, and portion size. But the strategy is strong. Never eat sweet dry fruit alone if your glucose rises easily. Prunes may also support A1C over time through better snack control. A1C reflects average blood sugar over about 3 months. One serving of prunes will not lower A1C by itself, but if prunes replace processed sweets and reduce cravings, your daily glucose pattern may improve. Small changes repeated daily can matter. For many diabetics, better A1C comes from fewer spikes, fewer cravings, and better meal consistency. Prunes also support heart and blood vessel health. They contain polyphenols, which are antioxidant compounds that help fight oxidative stress. High blood sugar increases oxidative stress, which can damage blood vessels, nerves, kidneys, and eyes. Prunes also provide potassium, which supports blood pressure balance. A 1 ounce serving may provide around 200 milligrams of potassium, about 4% of your daily value. Vitamin K supports bone health and normal blood clotting, while copper helps with antioxidant defense and energy metabolism. Bone health is another overlooked benefit. Prunes contain boron, vitamin K, and polyphenols that may support bone strength. This matters for older adults with diabetes because aging, low activity, and poor nutrition can increase bone risk. A small daily portion of prunes may support both digestion and bones when used correctly. Now let's talk about timing. The best time to eat prunes is after a balanced meal or with a protein-rich snack. For example, 3 prunes after lunch with nuts can help satisfy sweet cravings without creating a dessert-level sugar load. Some people also use prunes in the evening, about 60 to 90 minutes before bed, paired with walnuts or Greek yogurt, especially if they wake up hungry at night. But if your fasting blood sugar is high, test your response carefully because dried fruit at night does not work the same for everyone. The biggest mistake is eating prunes like candy. A full handful may contain 6, 8, or even 10 prunes, and that can bring too much natural sugar at once. Another mistake is drinking prune juice. Whole prunes contain fiber, but prune juice removes much of the fiber and delivers sugar in liquid form. Liquid sugar enters the bloodstream faster, so prune juice is usually not the best choice for diabetics. A simple diabetic-friendly recipe is 1/2 cup plain Greek yogurt with 3 chopped prunes, 1 tablespoon chia seeds, and cinnamon. This gives protein, fiber, probiotics, and sweetness without added sugar. Another option is 3 prunes with 1 ounce of walnuts or almonds as a small snack. Keep it measured. Do not eat straight from the bag. A gentle caution. Prunes contain sorbitol, so eating too many can cause gas, bloating, or diarrhea. If you have kidney disease, ask your healthcare provider about potassium limits. If you take blood thinners, keep vitamin K intake consistent. And if your blood sugar is sensitive, check your reading 1 to 2 hours after eating. Here's the key idea to remember. Prunes are not dangerous just because they are sweet. They become a problem when the portion is too large, the timing is wrong, or they are eaten alone. In the right amount, prunes can slow glucose absorption, support gut bacteria, reduce cravings, improve digestion, support blood pressure, and help protect long-term metabolic health. That is why prunes are not just a dry fruit. They are a small, fiber-rich tool for diabetics who want sweetness with control. Second on the list, cashews. If you think dry fruits are only sweet dried fruits like figs, raisins, or dates, this next one may surprise you. Cashews are often grouped with dry fruits in many homes, and for diabetics, they bring something very different to the plate. Instead of giving mostly natural sugar, cashews provide healthy fats, plant protein, magnesium, copper, zinc, and a very low glycemic impact. This makes them useful for blood sugar stability, especially when they replace high-carb snacks like biscuits, chips, crackers, or sweets. Cashews come from the cashew tree, scientifically known as Anacardium occidental. They taste slightly sweet and creamy, which makes many people worry they may raise blood sugar. But nutritionally, cashews are much lower in sugar than most dried fruits. 1 ounce of raw or dry roasted unsalted cashews, about 18 cashews, provides around 155 to 160 calories, about 5 grams of protein, 12 to 13 grams of fat, around 9 grams of carbohydrates, and about 1 gram of fiber. The net carbs are around 8 grams. Cashews also provide magnesium, copper, phosphorus, manganese, zinc, iron, selenium, and vitamin K. 1 ounce can give around 20% of your daily value for magnesium, more than 60% of your daily value for copper, about 15% of your daily value for zinc, and around 10% of your daily value for iron. The glycemic index of cashews is low, usually around 22 to 25, and the glycemic load of a 1 ounce serving is low, usually around 2 to 3. This means cashews have a small effect on blood sugar when eaten in the right portion. Their healthy fats and protein slow digestion, so glucose enters the bloodstream more gradually. This is why cashews can be a smart snack or breakfast add-on for diabetics. The biggest benefit of cashews is that they reduce the speed of glucose absorption when paired with carbs. If you eat a sweet dry fruit alone, blood sugar may rise faster. But if you pair a small amount of dried fruit with cashews, the fat and protein from cashews slow digestion. This can help reduce post-snack glucose spikes by about 20 to 30% compared with eating sweet dried fruit or refined snacks alone. For example, 2 dried figs with 10 cashews will usually be better balanced than 4 or 5 figs alone. Cashews also support insulin sensitivity because they contain magnesium. Magnesium helps insulin signaling and glucose movement into cells. Many people with type 2 diabetes have low magnesium levels, and low magnesium can make insulin resistance worse. By adding magnesium-rich foods like cashews, spinach, pumpkin seeds, or almonds, you support the mineral foundation your body needs for better glucose control. Another important mineral in cashews is copper. Copper supports antioxidant enzymes that protect your cells from oxidative stress. High blood sugar creates oxidative stress, which can damage blood vessels, nerves, kidneys, and eyes over time. Copper also supports iron metabolism and energy production. This matters because many diabetics struggle with fatigue, and stable minerals help the body produce energy more efficiently. Cashews may also support heart health. Diabetes increases the risk of heart disease, high cholesterol, and circulation problems. Cashews contain mostly unsaturated fats, which can support healthier cholesterol patterns when used instead of processed snacks or fried foods. They may help reduce LDL cholesterol and support better HDL balance as part of a healthy diet. Their magnesium and potassium also support blood pressure and blood vessel function. Cashews also help control hunger hormones. Fat and protein help reduce ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and support leptin, the fullness hormone. This means a small serving can keep you satisfied longer than a sweet snack. Many diabetics struggle not because they eat too much at one meal, but because hunger returns quickly and leads to repeated snacking. Cashews help slow that cycle. Another benefit is muscle and nerve support. Protein helps maintain muscle, and muscle is one of the main places where glucose is stored and used. Zinc and magnesium support nerve function and immune health. This is important because diabetes can affect nerves over time, especially in the feet and legs. While cashews cannot reverse nerve damage, they can be part of a nutrient-rich pattern that supports nerve health. Cashews also work well for weight control when portioned correctly. This may sound surprising because cashews are calorie-dense, but because they are filling, a measured 1-ounce serving can reduce cravings and prevent overeating later. The key is measurement. Cashews help when eaten as a portion. They become a problem when eaten by the handful from a large bag. The best serving size for diabetics is 1 ounce, or about 18 cashews. If you are pairing them with dried fruit, use a smaller amount, such as 10 to 12 cashews with 2 prunes or 1 small dried fig. The best time to eat cashews is with breakfast, after lunch, or as an evening snack when cravings hit. They are also useful before a meal because protein and fat can slow the glucose rise from the meal that follows. A simple diabetic-friendly recipe is a small dry fruit bowl with 10 cashews, 2 chopped prunes, 1 tablespoon chia seeds, and 1/2 cup plain Greek yogurt. This gives protein, fat, fiber, and sweetness in a controlled way. Another option is 1 ounce of cashews with cucumber slices or a boiled egg for a low-carb snack. Avoid honey-roasted cashews, salted cashews, chocolate-covered cashews, and cashew clusters. These often contain added sugar, refined oils, or too much sodium. Also avoid cashew milk that contains added sugar. If you drink cashew milk, choose unsweetened. A gentle caution: if you have a nut allergy, avoid cashews completely. If you have kidney disease, ask your healthcare provider about potassium, phosphorus, and magnesium limits. If you are trying to lose weight, measure the serving because calories add up quickly. And if your blood sugar rises easily, test your glucose 1 to 2 hours after eating cashews with dried fruit. Here is the key idea to remember. Cashews do not behave like sugary dry fruits. They act more like a glucose stabilizer when used correctly. Their magnesium supports insulin sensitivity, their healthy fats slow digestion, their protein improves fullness, and their minerals support heart, nerve, and energy health. That is why cashews are not just a crunchy snack. They are a smart dry fruit style food for diabetics who want fewer cravings, steadier blood sugar, and better control throughout the day. Third on the list, dried figs. If you have diabetes, dried figs may feel confusing. They are sweet, chewy, and naturally high in carbohydrates. So many people avoid them completely. And honestly, that fear is not wrong if the portion is large. Eating a handful of dried figs can raise blood sugar quickly because dried fruit is concentrated. But when dried figs are used in the right amount, paired correctly, and eaten at the right time, they can fit into a diabetic-friendly routine because they provide fiber, minerals, antioxidants, and slow-digesting plant compounds that are very different from refined sugar. Dried figs come from the fig tree, scientifically known as Ficus carica. Their glycemic index is usually moderate, around 40 to 55, depending on the type, ripeness, drying method, and portion size. Their glycemic load can rise quickly because they are carbohydrate dense. This is why portion control is everything. A safer diabetic portion is usually 1 to 2 small dried figs, about 20 to 30 grams. This gives around 50 to 75 calories, about 13 to 19 grams of carbohydrates, around 2 to 3 grams of fiber, and roughly 10 to 15 grams of natural sugar. Dried figs also provide calcium, potassium, magnesium, iron, copper, manganese, and vitamin K. The first reason dried figs can be useful is fiber. Figs contain soluble and insoluble fiber. Soluble fiber helps slow glucose absorption by forming a thicker digestive environment. Insoluble fiber supports bowel regularity and helps move food through the gut. This is important for diabetics because digestion, appetite, and blood sugar are connected. If digestion is slow or irregular, cravings can increase, meal timing becomes unstable, and glucose control may become harder. Dried figs also support the gut microbiome. Their fiber feeds beneficial bacteria, and these bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids. These compounds may help reduce inflammation and support insulin sensitivity. This matters because insulin resistance is not just caused by sugar intake. It is also connected to inflammation, liver glucose output, belly fat, poor sleep, and gut imbalance. A small fiber-rich food like dried figs can support the system when used correctly. But here's the important truth. Dried figs should not be eaten like candy. They are not a free food. They are a concentrated fruit. The benefit comes from using them as a measured sweet bite, not as a large snack. If you eat 5 or 6 dried figs at once, the carbohydrate load may be too high. But if you eat 1 or 2 dried figs with protein or healthy fat, the blood sugar response becomes much slower. This is where pairing matters. Eat dried figs with 8 to 10 cashews, 6 walnut halves, 1 tablespoon peanut butter, or 1/2 cup plain Greek yogurt. The fat and protein, slow digestion, reducing the speed at which sugar enters the blood. Compared with eating dried figs alone, pairing them with nuts or yogurt may reduce the post-snack glucose spike by about 20 to 30% in some people. The exact result depends on your insulin sensitivity, medication, activity, and portion size. But the strategy is simple. Never eat sweet dried fruit alone if your sugar rises easily. Dried figs may also help with cravings. Many people with diabetes crave something sweet after meals or at night. If that craving turns into cake, cookies, candy, or sweet tea, blood sugar can spike fast. But one dried fig with walnuts or Greek yogurt may satisfy that sweet craving while keeping the portion controlled. This makes figs useful not because they are low in sugar, but because they can replace worse sweets in a smarter way. Figs also support mineral balance. They provide potassium, which helps support blood pressure. This matters because many people with diabetes also deal with high blood pressure. They provide calcium and magnesium, which support bones, muscles, nerves, and insulin function. Dried figs also contain iron and copper, which support red blood cells and energy metabolism. These nutrients make dried figs more valuable than refined sweets, which usually provide calories without meaningful minerals. Another benefit is bone health. Dried figs contain calcium, magnesium, potassium, and vitamin K. These nutrients support bone strength, which is important for older adults and people with diabetes who may have higher risk of bone weakness. Again, this does not mean eating many figs is better. It means a small portion gives nutrition along with sweetness. For A1C support, dried figs work best as a replacement strategy. A 1C reflects average blood sugar over about 3 months. If dried figs replace high-sugar desserts and are eaten in a measured portion with protein or fat, they may help reduce repeated glucose spikes. But if dried figs are added on top of an already high-carb diet, they can make blood sugar worse. The difference is not the fig alone. The difference is how you use it. Timing is also important. The best time to eat dried figs is after a meal, with nuts or as part of a protein-rich snack. Avoid eating them first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, especially if your fasting blood sugar is already high. Also avoid eating them late at night alone, because the natural sugar may affect fasting readings in sensitive people. If you want them in the evening, use only one small fig paired with walnuts or Greek yogurt and test your morning sugar. A simple diabetic-friendly recipe is 1/2 cup plain Greek yogurt with 1 chopped dried fig, 1 tablespoon chia seeds, cinnamon, and 6 crushed walnuts. This gives sweetness, protein, fiber, and healthy fats in one controlled bowl. Another option is 1 dried fig stuffed with 1 teaspoon peanut butter or almond butter. It tastes like dessert, but the fat helps slow absorption. Avoid fig rolls, fig cookies, fig jam, fig syrup, and dried figs coated with sugar. These products can raise blood sugar much faster than plain dried figs. Also, check labels because some dried figs may contain added sugar or preservatives. A gentle caution: if you have kidney disease, dried figs may be too high in potassium for your plan, so ask your healthcare provider. If you take blood-thinning medication, keep vitamin K intake consistent. If you have digestive sensitivity, start with 1 fig because too much fiber can cause gas or bloating. And if you are watching blood sugar closely, test 1 to 2 hours after eating. Here is the key idea to remember. Dried figs are not automatically bad for diabetics, but they demand respect. They are sweet, concentrated, and portion sensitive. Used carelessly, they can spike blood sugar. Used correctly, they can satisfy cravings, support digestion, provide minerals, feed good gut bacteria, and replace more harmful desserts. That is why dried figs are not just a sweet dry fruit. They are a controlled, fiber-rich option for diabetics who want sweetness without losing blood sugar control. Now you've seen it. Dry fruits are not always the enemy. The real key is portion control, timing, and smart pairing. Prunes, cashews, and dried figs can support better digestion, reduce cravings, slow glucose absorption, and help replace processed sweets when eaten correctly. Try 1 small portion and check your blood sugar 1 to 2 hours after eating. If this helped you, like the video, subscribe to Diabetes Healthcare, and comment which dry fruit will you try first.